Hey y'all, today we're going to talk about relationships, situationships, entanglements, all them things. Okay, let's get into it.
Something, 30 something. 30 something.
Let's start. So, Mel, what is your definition of a relationship? And what is your definition of marriage?
I feel like a relationship is someone that you enjoy in their totality and somebody that you want to desire to just move through life and share your goals and all your celebrations with. And marriage is someone that you know for sure that is committed to getting to that goal.
Okay, all right, I like that definition. So, how do you feel about an open marriage? Do you think that when you are inviting an open marriage into your relationship, are you still able to achieve that goal, or is it even about that goal at that time, or what do you think?
I honestly, just in my opinion, even with the recent things in the media about Jada and Will, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't be for an open marriage. I feel like if you want to date other people, why not just be single? And that's just my take on it. It's not in line with my values.
And that's understandable. I think that is the part that definitely is most understandable, is that it's not aligned with your values. And marriages are tailored to that person and the two people that are in that marriage at that time. So it is interesting that you say that it's not within your values, because values can mean different things for different people.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And then also different people at different times. The values back in ancient Egypt are completely different values in 2020. So and the values that were in the biblical days are completely different values than that there are set for today. So
what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about open marriage?
I feel that, like I said, I feel like marriages are tailored to the people that are in that relationship at that particular time. And I feel like whatever serves that person or those people is what serve those people. Personally, how do I feel about an open marriage? I'm not going to lie, I'm not married. So I have no idea the feelings or the emotions or the attachments that could necessarily be involved in something like that. But I don't feel like I'm judging anyone that's within a marriage or whatever, all the other different type of marriages that we're not even probably mentioning, things that I probably don't even know. I don't feel like I can judge you in that particular situation. Like, whatever floats.
Definitely no judgment. Definitely no judgment. And whatever someone decides is what they decide. But me personally, I do feel like an open marriage, even if it's just a setup for issues, because you have multiple people that's not within that entity of a man and the woman, or a woman and a woman, whoever. I'm not sure what people decide to do, but whoever you choose to marry, you're bringing outside people who are not in total agreement or haven't had those vows. So as for me, I don't think that it would work. And even people who I've seen do the open marriages, such as celebrities, it seems like it's always some type of drama with it. So
I feel like there's drama within every relationship, whether it be the open marriage, or whether it be your man ain't got no job, or whether it be your woman is not as independent as you wanted her to be, or whether it be y'all can't have no kids. Like, there's always an uphill battle.
It's always up. And I like that you said that, because you kind of broke down things that are very big hardships in marriages. And somebody probably could deal with somebody in an open marriage, but probably can't deal with a woman that can't have a child, or someone that won't work. So it definitely is tailored to the values that you have.
And also tailored to what you need. And I want to also state that sometimes if you haven't dealt with a lot of childhood traumas or a lot of issues or coping mechanisms that you used in your past, sometimes you will tailor your future, specifically your marriage, to who fit best within your coping mechanism. And you can always outgrow that as well. So it's really interesting, relationships, and it's really interesting, this theory of marriage, especially when you think about just the history of marriage, because back in the day, marriage was really just about ownership, and it was about property rights of the woman. And today it is something completely different. You have.
I definitely think that it's evolved to a partnership. It's definitely not the woman staying at home and the man going out getting the bread. A lot of times, women, they want somebody that can bring something to the table, but our men, they want a woman that can bring just as much to the table. But what that person brings and what you need is definitely the values that you have and what you value in a marriage. So, Chris White, what would you value in a marriage?
Okay, so in a marriage, what would I value? Honestly,
Equality.
I feel like if I have someone that treats me as equal as a person or equal as a human as he finds himself, then that's something I would value.
That's a great thing to value, Christy, because when you say that, it makes me think about it. Like, most people think of themselves highly, and you have someone that value you the way that they value themselves. That means they're going to treat you in a way that they would want to be treated. So that's a different way to put it, but I like that. I like that. So you would,
and I need him to be emotionally, aware and intelligent of where he is, and have himself and think of himself like a king. So he would think of me like a queen. That is something I think I would definitely value over anything else in a relationship. Now, what is something that you value that you already have in your relationship, Mel, that you would be like, you know what, he does this, I can't even, no one else can even step to the plate.
When I think about it, and just to be honest and humbly so many things about my relationship and my husband that I value. He's very understanding of me, and he allows me to be me. It's never anything outside of Mel. He loves Melanie, and I know that. And that kind of gives you the encouragement to go out for things and just to feel good about yourself, because you know that you have that extra cheerleader that's kind of behind you outside of yourself.
Emotional support is really so important, though. And I feel like people mix up emotional support with a lot of other different types of support, like financial support and different things. And the thing about the millennial woman, the thing definitely about the Black millennial woman is that she knows that she can handle her own. So sometimes it's about, let me try to be there for her with whatever she needs. So let me just have that conversation with her. What do you need?
So and it goes back to it goes back to what you said, though. It's about what you value. And if you value somebody being financially stable, be real with yourself and know that that's what you value. I don't think anything is wrong with what you value and what you really need from someone. So if you need that stability financially, then it's nothing wrong with being attracted to a man that can do that. Or if you need that emotional stability, and thank God we can find a man that does it all. Some people, it's a sexual thing. It's what you value. It's whatever that person values, and it's best to link up with someone that can provide that need or also meet those characteristics that you need.
And so also, you want to piggyback off what you said, also just understand you at a different level, because sometimes you can go through something in life that is so traumatic, and it may not necessarily be what the subpar society thinks is rightful as to what you need. But if your man or if your spouse or your significant other understands you at that level and meets you at that level, then that's different. You know what I'm saying? It's a tailored relationship to your tailored needs. And I feel like that's what's the most interesting in dating, right?
In dating, right? It's hard, huh? I have a lot of friends. I have not dated in a very long time. It just feels like forever ago. I was like young. I got with my husband when I was 22. So I have not been in the dating world, but to hear for so many of my girlfriends who are dating, it's like Mel, it's hard. It's hard to find someone. It's hard to find someone that's in line with my values. It's like, what are they doing? So I feel like it's rare when you
It's
find
just
someone
really
that
small.
really do lines up.
The pool is just really small. And then it gets smaller depending on what things you're adding into that bucket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
I have entered the dating world and it is so interesting. So interesting. Not like when not it wasn't this in 20 like 11, 20, 2008. Like this is a
Yeah,
different
those back in the
time.
days, dating days. Yeah.
Yes, this is
All
a
those years
completely different
ago.
time. And it is very interesting how people choose different modems to get to know each other and have to ask different questions and what that looks like today.
Yeah.
I can say dating has been, like I said, interesting. Like I have had the opportunity to meet an array of people, which is something I wouldn't have been able to do in 2018. I mean,
Yeah.
2008. You know what I mean? In
Yeah.
2008,
I think
I
it's
was gonna meet
exciting to be able
everybody
to
in
date during this
the
time because you're older, you have more resources, you can work and go on vacation, things that we couldn't do back then, you're
Right.
able to do. So, I just say even if you are wanting to be married and you're not married yet, I say take a load off, take the pressure away, and just enjoy dating because it's an exciting time to date at this age.
And no one talks about the fact that when you're dating, you learn a lot of things about yourself as well. Like while you're dating, it's a journey, and just like it's a journey when you're with someone, it's a journey when you're not with someone too. And
Mm-hmm.
so just make sure that when you're going through this journey, that you take out the time to realize the crazy things or the magnificent thing or the beautiful things that you actually learn about yourself along with this, So
Yeah.
I feel like there's a time and place for everything, and everything comes with its seasons. And so you just have to make sure that you're willing to change with the wind. Number one hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
In a situationship, you with this dude and y'all ain't never really defined who y'all really were. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? He kind of just like, oh my, like we taking it easy, we taking it slow. And then you wake up and you're like, damn, like we've been together for a minute. Like, let me reassess how I feel. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is becoming a situationship.
Oh, okay. Well, me for one, I've always been just like hard. If I like you, I like you. It's like, hey, when we
It
go
is what
together,
it
we
is.
go together. You don't even know it, but we go together. So
Right.
I that I would be able to be into too many situationships. And if I was in one, it would have to be like, is there a time limit on it? How long should a situationship last? Is it 0 to 6 months? Or some people find themselves in situationships 3 to 5 years. And I definitely feel like you can keep staying in a situationship, y'all in a relationship at this point, because that's a long period of time. I'm all for just saying how I feel. And if I feel like I love you and care for you like that, why aren't we together? You know what I'm saying? Why can't I be your woman? Why can't you be my man? So we
Maybe
can
that
get past
person,
the
but what,
situation.
okay, so let's throw in a rant. Let's throw in a little wrench. What if that person is at a time in their life where they are working through a traumatic situation and they necessarily cannot give you the ability to actually commit to you.
Mm-hmm.
However, they're not seeing anybody else, they don't want anybody else, and the actions are there. They're
Yeah,
there. How do you
I
feel
feel
about
like
that?
at that point you would have to truly assess yourself because it's okay. I'm not gonna say be selfish, but people have to put themselves first because if you don't, then you end up resenting that person. So if I know that hey, Chris is going through a little hard time and she's trying to be with me, but I'm ready for to be married or I'm ready for something on a different level, then I need to go ahead and move away from that. If you love something, let it go. And if it comes back, that's how you know. And they said on the song. And that's what I really feel is true. You don't have to waste your time or you don't have to wait. Now, if you feel like you care enough about that person that you're willing to wait, but I still feel like you need to have a timeline, a personal timeline, because you'll find yourself, like I said, 3 to 5 years in a situationship because that person has not dealt with all they have gone through. And then you will begin to resent that person.
Yeah. And resent
So
the
I feel like
situation
that's
and
what you
resent the
have to
time
do.
that you're with that person.
Yeah, and you have to always make a choice for yourself. Like, even if you choose to be with that person, it's not for them. You really need to make sure you're doing the best thing for you, because you will resent that person, and it's not fair to them.
Yeah.
And it's not
It's
fair
not
to you.
fair
It's
to
fair
you.
to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not. If you don't want to wait around while they get their stuff together, don't.
Yeah.
But if you decide to wait around while they get their stuff together, don't
Don't
throw it
resent
up.
them. Yeah.
Don't resent them. That's something that you want, and that's just how you're gonna get to love. There's no time. There's no rule book.
None. None. So my second hypothetical obviously is an entanglement, like Will, Jada, and August.
Yeah,
How you feel?
I
What
feel
is
like
the
it's
one thing
Hollywood.
that you would say to advise people about this situation?
I feel like it's real Hollywood, and you know, sometimes they just do a lot of different things, and whatever those people values are and however they do it, it's fine. You know, that's what they do. But me personally, I couldn't be in an entanglement. That sound like bullcrap to me. An entanglement, you just was cheating and you just want to have your cake and eat it too. And I feel like with marriage, that's a commitment to being with that person. And of course, when you're committed and you're married, that doesn't mean that you don't look at other people, or that you're not attracted to others. But the commitment that you have to that other person prevents you from doing that, because when you break that commitment, you allow a gap or space for something else to seep in, and drama. And
Well,
do you want to be happy, or do you want the drama?
that's true. No, and that's real, because drama in a relationship is not real. Like, that's not something you want to be in.
Mm-mm.
I definitely agree with you, but like I stated in our earlier episode, go watch it. That I don't know where they were in their relationship. So because I don't know where they were in their relationship, it's hard for me to figure or have such a strong opinion about like what this entanglement really was. Like, were you guys
I
split?
don't know where they were in their
Relationship,
relationship.
whatever.
I wouldn't pass judgment on them. And I wasn't actually talking about Will and Jada. You just asked me the
About
general,
the entanglement in
the
general.
general entanglements. Like, entanglement sounds negative to me.
Yeah.
That sounds like a negative word. And even in the tone that she even explained, if we're talking about Jada and
I mean,
Will, it was also
to be
negative.
entangled in something, it sounds like it's gonna take some work to untangle.
Yeah, so I don't like mess. I truly feel like when it's true love, you don't have to deal in mess. And I feel like when it's right and it's what it's supposed to be, it's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not drama. It's not all of that. So if you getting in an entanglement, then you're inviting drama into your life. So do you want to be drama free, or are you attracted to drama? And if you are attracted to drama, why?
I feel like I definitely think that's a great question. For me, it's just more compounded, more so because if we're going to talk about their incident in general, you do have a significant age gap. And then on top of that, you have somebody who's in need, and then you have somebody who wants to be needed. So it's a lot of other compounded issues along with that. But if we're just talking in general, I feel like sometimes you're right. There's a deeper explanation at bay, and you definitely have to look below the surface, and you definitely have to be willing to accept what happens once you look below the surface, and so does your spouse. And then y'all definitely need to be willing to work through that together.
Yeah, you have to be willing to work through it, but don't nobody have to.
No.
You can make the choice whether you're married or whether you are not. If something, hurts you or doesn't line up with your values, then you have the choice to choose to walk away. So you won't be so resentful.
Agreed. And I think that the freedom of it is there. But what's crazy is that sometimes, people get like the history, or sometimes even the codependency, or just the emotions, all, are you willing to deal with it? Like, how your coping mechanisms when you're younger. It's so many different aspects that can become involved in a relationship that can either drive people apart or keep people together, sometimes for the wrong reasons and sometimes for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So I think I always have thought relationships were very interesting, because you're putting two people together that people like to say they're half pieces. I don't like to consider whole people half pieces. I think that it's very wrong to think that someone could not be independent on their own and live a happy life. So I think in a relationship, you're putting two whole pieces together to make this magnificent dynasty, as you described earlier. And I definitely like that definition. I definitely like that definition.
Yeah, it's all in what you want. And I just personally feel like I'm an advocate for marriage. I love being married. I thank God that I was able to find the person that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life early on. And I'm just so grateful for it. And the truth is, a lot of people won't ever experience that. They won't ever be married. So I do agree with what you said about having that whole, like, instead of saying that's my better half, no, I'm a whole person and you're a whole person, and we're coming together and we're going to build this amazing life or this amazing thing. Because if you don't ever find that person, does that mean that you should be depressed? Does that mean that your life doesn't have, like, if you stay single forever, your life is not less valuable than mine.
Yeah, I don't even think some people are destined to find another person. You know what I mean? I feel like some people are really just destined to find themselves. What is your take on friendships, though? How do
Feel
you
like friendships
feel?
can be just as important as romantic relationships because, as I said, some people won't ever be in a romantic relationship. But does that mean that your life should have less value? Does that mean that you should be unhappy? No, you shouldn't. Find awesome relationships and friendships, and find ways to be happy on your own and surround yourself around people that bring value to your life, whether that's within a romantic way or it's just friendships, friend girls, friend guys. Relationships, period, are valuable and they make the world go round.
Yeah. What's so crazy is that I remember sitting at the dinner table with my family, and there was a question posed to the table of how we felt about just marital relationships and cheating. And I answered the question about how I felt genuinely just about relationships. And I feel what's crazy is that I want to enter every relationship the same. I want to be genuine as possible and as honest as possible in every encounter and every relationship that I have with someone. And those relationships are not just cut off at your spousal relationship. You have relationships with your family. You have a relationship with your friends, with your coworkers, with your
Yes.
colleagues, with the people that you went to school with. Like, you have relationships with so many different people. And after now being in a situation where I employ people, I have relationships with my employees, and it is super interesting, the different roles and the different type of relationships that you definitely have to, the hats that you
You
have to
start
change
playing people's life,
and
and
put
like I
on.
say, it can be
Yeah.
just important. It can be just as important to just any type of relationship. So
Yes.
it still goes back to like your values, and are these people bringing value to your life? Even when you're in a relationship, like I am married, but I have been blessed with so many awesome friends. And a lot of people can't say that, but I have a lot of genuine people God has brought into my life that they do things like I might can't talk to somebody, about this, but I can go talk to my other friend about it. It's just different things and different roles that people serve in their life. So just because, and I really feel like it's a thing to talk about, because when women hit their 30s, I know men maybe experience it as well, but I know for sure when you turn 30 something and a lot of women aren't married, they feel like they are not accomplishing something or they're failures in that area. But do not feel that way. Do not be dismayed, because the fact of the matter is everybody doesn't get married. Like I know so many people who have gone through life and never gotten married, but you have to still find happiness in the relationships that you can make with your coworkers, with your friends, you may not have kids, but you could be a bum godparent or just a mentor for someone. So we always have purpose in our life. It just may not look like the same packaging.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And also, like, I feel like even with that being said, you have to understand, like, you have to be happy with whatever is within your present moment. And so you have to know that is what is for you, it literally is for you. No other sis is about to go take your man. Okay?
Mm-hmm. They
What
can't.
they can't, because what is designed for you is going to
Yeah.
be for you. So whatever it is that you're trying to learn, or whatever it is that the universe is trying to help you understand about yourself in this present moment, without being in a relationship with that person or being in a relationship with anyone, just absorb it. Just be enthralled in the journey at that time and at that moment. And like you said, there are definitely women out there who are like dealing with the fact that they're 30 somethings and they haven't got married, or they haven't found that significant other. But
Yeah, so many people I talk to,
they are
it's like
crazy.
a burden or like a hindrance. And I'm like, well, look at how awesome you are. Look what all you have achieved, and look how great of
Exactly.
a friend you are to me. Like your life has so much value.
Yeah,
And
already just by
I want to
itself,
see that.
as it should though. You want your life to have value before you even
Mhm.
intermingle your life with someone else. Like as
And
it
if
should.
and also being okay with if I don't ever entangle with someone else or enter a union with someone else. I am still perfectly made, and God loves me. And not only do God love me, it's plenty of people on this earth that He has put, around that could be a part of my life and bring value to it.
I
You
agree.
know?
I agree. And another thing I just want to state, and this is for my sisters and my brothers, please stop creating these fairy tale marriages in your head to think that it's going to look like that and it's going to be that way. And you guys are going to have this big house that sits on a hill with this pretty picket fence. Please stop, because that is not what marriage looks like. That is not necessarily what marriage is. And I'm not speaking from a perspective of the fact that I'm married. I'm just speaking from a perspective of seeing different marriages throughout my life. Um,
Yeah.
let's be honest. Let's have
Mhm.
an honest conversation with ourselves and with our spouses. Let's stop
I feel
creating
like if
these
you are being honest with yourself, then you don't create this fairy tale thinking of what it's gonna be. You will be able to deal more with another person because another person is human. They're gonna think differently from you. They're gonna react to situations differently than you would. But if you have love for that person on that level, then you're willing to do the work.
Mhm.
You're willing to work through it till they get a better understanding of what your values are, and you all can get to another level and make life work. Everybody's not meant to make life work with another person.
Yeah.
And some people are trying to make it work with another person and it's failing, and they're living their life unhappy. Life is so short.
Yeah, agreed. And everyone is not meant to have the same marriage as everyone else. Some
Yes.
I recently learned that I'm an empath, and it's crazy because a lot of things that I learned about empaths are that they don't like to sleep like all the time, like in the same bed as their significant other, or that they can't be around a lot of people during a certain time frame, or it's just different things that I've learned about myself. It's just like, oh my gosh, like this is so interesting. I did not know that I needed this much time alone, or I value this much time just with myself. But I
Yeah.
also value the time that I have with my significant other as equally as I value the time that I am with myself. So it is about knowing who you are before you even get in a relationship, or being willing to grow with that person while you guys are in a
And
relationship.
actually, and verbalizing. One thing about any relationship, whether it is a situationship, friendship, man and wife, marriage, whatever, is going to be communication. I
That's
need to
the
be able
key.
to come to you as a friend, Chrissy, and say, I don't like the way you did that, or hey, this makes me feel this kind of way. Are you willing to work on it? Is it something that you are able to work on? If not, then maybe we shouldn't spend as much time together.
Yeah.
Same with your spouse, even down to sexual. Like, I like this in this sexual way, or I don't like that. It's so many people who are sitting up, being in relationships and having sexual relations, and they're not even
Happy or like what
comfortable to
yeah,
say, I don't like that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
have to be able to communicate and say what it is you like and what you don't.
Communication is so key, like just not even in the ways that you're describing it, in the ways where how else just are you supposed to know
Yeah.
what what is okay and what is not okay? you
But
know.
when you with someone for so long, you feel like, well, you should have known that. But ask yourself, did I really
Not
tell him that? Did
every
I open my mouth out loud and say that I didn't like that? Or did I just assume that he should have known that I didn't like it because of how I've reacted in the past over it? You know, we have to start being intentional with our conversations and just saying it. You know, I love to say that. Just say it. Just say it.
I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten a lot better with my communication skills. And a lot of it definitely came from being able to communicate even with myself. Like I recently stated, I went through some traumatic issues. And what I did not understand is when you go through trauma, your left side of your brain shuts down. And that is the side that you learn to communicate what you're seeing or what you're hearing or what you're experiencing. And so it takes a long time for you to, number one, be exposed to that type of knowledge, and number two, be able to understand it and apply it, so now you can be able to communicate better. So I implore people who, number one, think that they may be great communicators, or number two, think that, oh, maybe I'm not the best communicators. I implore anyone on any side of the spectrum, in between or wherever you are, to definitely just ask yourself, like, do I do a good job of openly communicate how I feel? I remember coming to visit you, and I had a situation, and you were just like, Chrissy, do you think that you communicated that in the best way that you could have?
Yeah, I
And
remember.
although I was like, yes, you know,
Yeah,
I
you
still
didn't want to
have to
take it
go
at
back.
first.
Yeah, I was like, don't come for me. I still have to go back and rethink about how could I have done that better? Yeah, actually, you
Or
could.
did I even? Sometimes, like, we're so used to communicating or feeling like you're so close to a person, you don't realize I didn't tell you I didn't like this. I just felt like you should have known. So communication is just, it's key for any relationship. And it's like, duh, yeah, but you will be surprised how many people don't do it. And then you end friendships that, you know, that really were blessings in your life, and you didn't even tell that person, well, you didn't do this, it really made me feel that way. You know, I feel like we were better than that. Let me know. Charge it to my brain. Don't charge it to my heart. Let me know what's going on. I want to do this.
Don't charge.
I want to be the best friend that I can be, the best family member that I can be, sister, lover, friend, mother. I just want to be the best that I can be. But guess what? I am not perfect. So guess what? I have all these people around me that can say, hey, don't be afraid to tell me. Like, you can do that a little bit better. My husband do it all the time. He tells me, and I thank God for
that's a good foundation. That's a good foundation for someone to be able to, but for someone to be able to empathize and then sympathize and then also check you, like that's pretty cool. Like,
it is. It's cool. But that can come from a romantic relationship, or it could also just come from a friendship. But you know how awesome it is when you find a romantic relationship with someone that you have an awesome friendship with.
Girl, I can.
It's amazing. I thank God for it. I do.
That's cool. That's cool. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode about relationships, situationships, and friendships.
Yes, and do not forget, please subscribe, y'all, to 30 somethings on YouTube. Subscribe.
30 somethings, 30
something. 30 something. 30 something.